Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going over February's theme in my themed Letterboxd 4 series, which is romance films. Now, I believe the day that I'm getting this video uploaded will be Valentine's Day, so it was obviously a no-brainer that we had to do romance films for this month. Now, if you're new to this series, basically all this is every month I do two videos. I do a preview video, which is what this one is, where we introduce the category, and then I'll give you a bunch of films that I'm going to watch this month and talk about in the results video, which is the second video. So again, just in the setup, all we're going to do is we're going to go over some rules and exclusions, and then I'm going to name 10 films that I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to watch this month. So starting with the rules here in this, the only real rule is that it just has to have the romance genre listed on Letterboxd, but there will be kind of a secondary thing. I'm going to be a little subjective with it. The romance aspect of the film has to either be kind of like the primary or like the secondary genre in the film. When I was doing my research and I was getting this list all put together, I was searching for romance, and there's a whole lot of films that were popping up that in my head I'm like, I don't consider that a romance, even if there clearly is. And then you look at the genres, and there's 6 genres listed, and romance is obviously one of them, but I'm like, I would classify it as these 3, before I get to romance. And so I want to make it so it is more specifically focused on legit real romance films as opposed to, an action movie where the hero has a love interest and so it gets the romance tab. So that's what we're doing. It's going to be a little bit subjective. So there's some things that maybe I'll decide later if they count or not, but we'll see. I'm going to try and play it as kind of straightforward as possible, just pure love stories. And then, if you're new to this series, I do an exclusions list here. Now, the only things that get excluded, occasionally there's some exclusions based on kind of like I just said, like if it's romance is kind of like the 4th thing, I'm going to exclude it. But the other type of exclusion that is in these videos is if a film is used in a previous Letterboxd 4 themed series, then it's ineligible moving forward, because I did this all last year. At the end, I wanted 48 different films, and then this year I want 48 new films. So by the end, we're going to get to, 96 different films that we're going to be talking about, because I want to really kind of spread the love across a whole bunch of films. And so with that being said, I think I didn't count this up. Let me count real quick. Looks like there's 9 films that have been in previous Letterboxd 4s that would have fit this category, like where romance was one of the genres. I was kind of surprised. This is by far the most exclusions that we've ever had, so let's quickly go over that list of all the exclusions. The Apartment is ineligible because it was in the Best Picture winners. Love and Basketball is ineligible because it was in Black History Month. Brokeback Mountain, Desert Hearts, and Portrait of a Lady on Fire were all in my Pride Month video. Little Women was in my Coming of Age video. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was in my science fiction video. The Big Sick was in my biopic video. And Hamnet was in my 2025 releases video. And without further ado, let's take a look at that current Letterboxd 4. About Time. Before Sunrise. Her. Past Lives. Now, Her was in strong consideration in my science fiction video last year, but ultimately it didn't quite make that cut. But I'm excited to watch that again because of how close it was to making that list. I have a good feeling it'll probably make it here in romance. Before Sunrise, I watched, I guess it's been 2 years now, when I did my Richard Linklater video. Yeah, that would have been in 2024, where I watched all of Richard Linklater's filmography. I love the entire Before trilogy. Before Sunrise. Before Sunset is another one that I'm probably going to watch this month because it's really close. And I'll probably, just because I'm probably going to watch the whole trilogy, I'll watch Before Midnight again. I liked Before Midnight, but it was definitely like my least favorite of the 3, but excited to watch all of those again. Past Lives was my favorite film from 2023. Is that what year that came out? Yeah, 2023. So obviously really excited to watch Past Lives. If you just saw my 2025 releases, I just talked about Materialists. I just, am a big fan of Celine Song as a filmmaker. I think both of those films are great. About Time is the one that I almost didn't put in my current Letterboxd 4 because I've only seen it once and it's been a while. But I remember really liking it, and I've been itching for a rewatch for so long, so excited to use this as kind of the excuse to finally getting around to watching that. And then the 3 contenders: La La Land, Titanic, The Worst Person in the World. Now, Titanic is kind of just like the classic romance film. I actually saw it for the first time on Valentine's Day 2 or 3 years ago. It was like, had its whatever, it was whatever anniversary. So I guess, oh no, maybe it wasn't even an anniversary. But it was just running. It was playing back in theaters a couple years ago. So finally saw it for the first time. La La Land obviously is a classic, a great film that I. It's probably been a minute since I've seen, so I'm definitely due for a rewatch on that. The Worst Person in the World is actually really fun here because it's I remember liking it a couple years ago, but I think I only saw it the one time, kind of right before that Oscar ceremony when it was that would that have been 2021 maybe 22? I think it was in the same year that Drive My Car won Best International Film, but can't remember what year that was off the top of my head. But I haven't watched it in a while, and I've kind of forgotten a decent amount of the film. But I just watched Sentimental Value, Joachim Trier, Renato Reinsva, Daniel Anders Lai, is that his name? Those three obviously came back for sentimental value, but obviously that they were all together in The Worst Person in the World. So just excited to kind of give that another watch. And three films I haven't seen: Casablanca, Cinema Paradiso, and In the Mood for Love. Now, Casablanca is interesting because there was years ago I was when I was first trying to like start up getting like a DVD collection, and Walmart always had the like $3 bins or whatever, and I remember I used to kind of just go, and occasionally if I was just bored I would just grab a couple movies and add them and be like, okay, yeah, I'll buy these and I'll watch it. And so I remember I bought Casablanca. I don't know where it is in my DVD collection that's like kind of right behind the camera. I don't know where it is in there, but I know for a fact I've never opened it, and so I bought it, and I was one of those that I'm like, oh, one of these years I'll watch it, and so this will be the time. I'm making the excuse now. I'm finally going to watch Casablanca. Cinema Paradiso and In the Mood for Love are two that I actually don't know really anything about them. I think they're both foreign language films. But the only thing I really know about them is I've seen their posters on Letterboxd, and I've seen that they're both really highly rated on Letterboxd, and so I've always wanted to kind of check them out, but again, just really just never made the time for them, so I'm going to make sure I make the time for them this month. And as always, these 10 films that I just named, these are the 10 that I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to watch this month. But if you're familiar with this series, you know I always go way over. So leave your comments down below what your favorite romance films of all time are, and I'm going to make sure I get to as many of them as I can. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, leave those comments down below. And I also just kind of want to point out that this month, obviously I'm getting a little bit later of a jump on this as well. Plus, it is right, smack in the middle of me doing all of my Oscar videos and stuff like that. So there is a good chance that maybe I don't get to as many as I typically do this month. That might be a little bit slower of an outpoint. So just let me know down below in the comments your suggestions, because if you do leave a suggestion, I'm going to make sure that those are the ones that I for sure make sure I get to, plus these 10. And if you'd like to like this video and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes in this series, my Themed Letterboxd 4 series, or any of the other series, again, like my Oscars category breakdown videos are going to be coming out very soon. So if you're interested in seeing any of those and you would like to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.